Hello friends, when we talk about great movie makers, we can't miss Christopher Nolan. He's not just a director, but also a talented writer. He's up there with big names like Steven Spielberg and George Lucas. Even though his movie The Memento faced challenges, it still becomes a big hit with Oscar nominations. From small films to big blockbuster movies, Nolan's love for cinema never stops. On set, he has a unique style and always keeps things a secret. Today, we're exploring the Nolan Variations and welcoming you to the Nolan world where each scene shows his brilliance. Right from the start, Nolan really got into his movies, giving them his all. It's not just about getting famous or winning awards for him. Think about it, putting so much into something that you can't stop thinking about it. For Nolan, this is what he does every day, and you can see this in his movies. In the films like the Oppenheimer and others, you can see that how much he cares. He goes all in, driven by his love for movies, and he brings us along for the ride. Now let's take a closer look at what makes him tick. While Nolan's obsession with his work is palpable, it's also intriguing to examine how he perceives the fans' unwavering enthusiasm for his creations. Nolan's enthusiasm and deep connection to his work are evident when discussing his films. He often shares how immersed he becomes in the world he creates, understanding the fascination fans have with movies like Inception and Memento. Nolan is dedicated to his craft, striving for excellence in every project. He believes that if a film deeply resonates with the viewer, then he has successfully communicated his vision and passion. This deep connection between the filmmaker and the audience is what many refer to as the Nolan Effect. And while Nolan has a distinct and mesmerizing style, one might wonder how he stands alongside other giants in the filmmaking world. Now let's talk about other big movies while discussing Nolan. One name that comes to mind is James Cameron. James Cameron is like Nolan, both are huge in the movie world, but they do things a bit differently. Cameron loves using fancy computer effects in his movies. Nolan? Well, not so much. He likes keeping things real and only uses computer effects when he really has to. Both have made big marks in movies, but they do it in their own unique way. Something cool about Nolan is that he's old school. He doesn't even use email or phones much and likes to talk to people directly. He thinks too much tech can stop people from being creative. He's super serious about making movies. It's not just a job for him, it's something he really loves and cares about. He even says he sees himself more like someone who's good with his hands, a bit like a builder or a carpenter rather than an artist. This is kind of how George Lucas thinks about his own movies, as mentioned in his book, George Lucas, A Life. Nolan, just like George Lucas, sees movies in a very special way. George Lucas once said, "I'm more of a builder than a painter," and Nolan feels the exact same way. He's all about getting better at making movies, kind of like how some great leaders want to be clear and straight to the point. Nolan, who grew up in the UK, loved American movies like Star Wars. To him, movies weren't just fun, they were big adventures. His father even took him to Pinewood Studios, where lots of movies are made. And just like George Lucas, Nolan thinks of himself more as someone who builds movies than just someone who paints them. Why is he like this? Maybe because he loves movies since he was a kid, and all things he learned growing up. Now let's step back and see when Nolan's love for movies started. As a kid from the age of 8 to 13, Nolan loved making movies. He was amazed to learn that Ridley Scott made both the Blade Runner and the Alien. By age 13, he knew he wanted to be a director. Even though he was at a strict school whilst his family was away in Chicago, Nolan would get lost in famous movie music. Maybe being at school made him focus on details in his movies. It's just a guess if his time at school shaped how he makes movies. Nolan would watch old movies again and again, and that's probably where he got the idea for films like Inception. The whole dream idea started back then. Even though Nolan and Cameron went to different colleges, they both loved movies the same way. Nolan spent a lot of time with the film and TV group at the University College of London and learned a lot about making movies. And it's cool to see that he works with his family in movies. He met his future wife Emma at college. Not only did she become his wife, but she also became a big part of his movie making team. Together, they went from raising money for movies to making big Hollywood films. Christopher Nolan knows how to make the most of things. He always tried to keep a tight control over his films, even if it meant spending less. He kicked off his film career back in college with a film club. Then he made videos for companies to save money for his own movies. Even in those days, he never gave up. His wife Emma was always there to support him. They teamed up for his first big movie, The Following. This shows us that the big stars like Nolan start with big dreams, pushing through every tough time that comes up. In the beginning, Nolan used the money from his regular job to make his film dreams come true. Every weekend, they'd film a bit, maybe about 10 to 15 minutes, even if they had to do it quickly without official permission. Lots of famous movie makers started small, but Nolan's energy was special. By the time he was 27, even after people said no to his ideas, he made momentum. It was this movie that made him famous. Later, with some help from Steven Soderbergh, Nolan got to make Insomnia and work with big stars like Al Pacino. No matter what, Nolan always wanted to be in charge of his movies. Making movies for Nolan isn't just about telling stories. It's about doing the best even when there's not a lot of time or money. He loves having control. He's so into his work that he turned a nearby house in LA into his movie making place. This way, he's just a quick walk away from work. It's like mixing home and work together, so he's always in a creative mood. For Nolan, working smart and fast is how he stays in control. When the movie Batman Begins, he started working on the movie even without telling the big movie company Warner Brothers. He just wanted to make the movie in his own style, his own way. Even with another movie, The Prestige, he used old techniques instead of new digital ways. But for Nolan, it's about the person making the movie, not just the tools they use. It's like how the famous writer Cormac McCarthy wrote amazing books on a cheap typewriter. Nolan's big movie hits gave him a strong spot in Hollywood. Even though he was surprised by how well his movies did, with all this success, he got more freedom to do what he wanted in his movies. With his movie The Dark Knight being a hit, Nolan felt ready to go back to an old idea, Inception. He had struggled with the ending before, but now he felt confident. He felt ready. Just like James Cameron, Nolan sees movies as a dream inspired by books and old films. This mix helps him make special stories we see today on screen. Christopher Nolan is at the top in Hollywood. He has some cool ideas about telling stories. He believes that stories touch our hearts when they connect with our own feelings and our beliefs. It's like when you read a book or listen to a podcast that just clicks with us. Nolan loves the writings of Jorge Luis Borges and often talks about them. One of Nolan's standout movies is Dunkirk, where he shows us a special way of telling stories. Inception is another great movie from him. It's not just a movie, it's like a diary from Nolan's own life, starting from ideas he had as a teenager and later influenced by his life's wins and becoming a father. Inception tells us about Nolan's own journey. This teaches us that good art comes from real life experiences. Nolan loves simplicity. He draws his ideas by hand, understanding that a movie script is merely a starting point. Feeling lost at times is natural, and finding your way again is what matters. Trust in your feelings and always remember your primary motivation, even when you get sidetracked. Movies like The Interstellar bring real-life emotion and experiences to the fore, resonating deeply with the audiences. His collaboration with German film producer Hans Zimmer has led to iconic movie scores, elevating the storytelling experience to unparalleled depths. Nolan's dedication to realism shines as seen in Interstellar, where he opted for a real cornfield, and in Dunkirk, where the focus was on raw human survival. Christopher Nolan's commitment to his art extends beyond just the intricacies of his stories or the depth of his characters. One of the hallmarks of Nolan's directing style is his determination to capture the perfect shot, no matter the external circumstances. Take for instance his filming of The Dark Knight Rises. Nolan and his team filmed the opening plane hijacking sequence in Scotland, braving the unpredictability of the region's weather. They faced a narrow window of time each day to get the scene just right, battling against strong winds and rapidly changing light conditions. Yet, Nolan's resolve never wavered. Similarly, while filming Dunkirk, Nolan insisted on capturing as much of the movie as possible in camera, avoiding the use of any CGIs or computer effects. This meant shooting the aerial dogfights with real Spitfires and capturing the beach scenes in the unpredictable coastal weather of Dunkirk in France. By choosing authenticity over convenience, Nolan immersed audiences in the stark reality faced by soldiers during the evacuation. His sentiment, "We film no matter what's the weather like," encapsulate more than just dedication to his craft. It's a testament to Nolan's belief in authenticity, his unwavering vision for his films, and his commitment to delivering an unparalleled cinematic experience. Reflecting on his journey from his artistic process to facing natural elements head-on, there are many lessons we can draw from Nolan's storied career. From the visionary world of Christopher Nolan, we glean profound wisdom. Firstly, immerse with obsessive focus in what you love. Understand and embrace the passion of your audiences. Prioritize craftsmanship and mastery in every creation, and let your roots shape your destiny. And always remember, it's resourcefulness that transforms dreams into realities. Embrace constraints, for they breed true creativity. And with every success, seek refinement and growth. Lastly, face challenges even in the whims of nature with unwavering commitment and resilience. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Nolan way. Well friends, that concludes our deep dive into the world of Christopher Nolan. His films have transformed cinema in ways we could have never imagined. How has Christopher Nolan's work influenced your view on movies? Let's discuss that in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this journey, please hit the like button and share this with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe for more intriguing tales. Your support helps this channel grow and allows me to bring more stories like this to you. Until next time, see you in the next video. Bye for now.